The sun rose over the hills of Galilee, casting a warm light on a small village called Cana. A wedding celebration was underway, a joyous occasion in Jewish culture often lasting for days. The air buzzed with laughter, dancing, and feasting. The bride and groom were surrounded by friends, family, and honored guests. Among those in attendance was Mary, the mother of Jesus, and Jesus himself, along with his disciples, had been invited to the celebration. But amid the festivity, a problem arose, a social disaster by ancient standards. The wine had run out. In the first century Jewish weddings, wine was not just a drink, it was a symbol of joy, blessing, and covenant. To run out of wine was more than an inconvenience, it could bring shame to the host and stain the family reputation. Mary, the mother of Jesus, sensitive and observant, noticed the issue and brings it to Jesus' attention. She said, "They have no wine." Her words are simple but full of meaning. She doesn't ask for anything directly, yet her statement is a clear appeal. She is trusting in him, perhaps not fully understanding how he would act, but knowing he could. Jesus responds, "Woman, what business do you have with me? My hour has not yet come." To modern ears, this may sound harsh, but in the cultural context, the word woman was not disrespectful. It was a formal, even gentle term, like saying ma'am. Still, Jesus making a point, his mission is directed by the will of the Father, not by human expectations, not even from his own mother. Yet Mary, undeterred and confident, turns to the servants and say, "Whatever he tells you, do it." It is one of the most powerful acts of faith in the gospel. She doesn't plead or insist, she simply trusts in Jesus. Nearby stood 6 stone water pots, large vessels used for ceremonial washing, a practice tied to Jewish ritual of purification. Each pot held 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus tells the servants, "Fill the water pots with water." They obey, filling them to the brim, leaving no room for anything else, only water. Then Jesus says to the servants, "Draw some out now and take it to the master of the feast." The servants comply, likely wondering what would happen. The master of the feast tastes the liquid and got stunned. He knows nothing of what has occurred, but the servants do. The water has turned into wine, rich, flavorful, and superior to what had been served before. The master calls the groom aside and says, "Everyone serves the good wine first, and when the guests are drunk, then he serves the poorer wine. But you have kept the good wine until now." The miracle is hidden in plain sight. Only a few are aware of what truly happened. But in that moment, Jesus has done something extraordinary. John, the Gospel writer, tells us this beginning of his signs Jesus did in Cana of Galilee and revealed his glory, and his disciples believed in him. This was no ordinary act of kindness. It was the first of Jesus' signs, a miraculous deed that points to a deeper reality. In turning water into wine, Jesus wasn't merely saving a wedding from embarrassment, but he was revealing his identity, his divine power, and the nature of the kingdom he came to establish in the world. The miracle at Cana is rich in symbolism and layered meaning. Every detail carries weight and reveals something about Jesus and his mission. Here we see Jesus honor human celebrations. It is significant that Jesus' first public miracle occurred at wedding. God in Christ affirms the joy of human relationships and the sanctity of marriage. It is not a distant deity removed from daily life. He enters our celebrations, our homes, and our need. The wine represents joy and abundance. Wine in Jewish tradition symbolizes joy, covenant, and God's blessings. By providing the finest wine and in such abundance, Jesus demonstrates that He brings the fullness of joy. He is the true bridegroom, ushering in a new covenant far superior to the old. The transformation of water into wine points to a new creation. The stone jars were used for purification. This was the part of the old religious system. Jesus takes what is ritualistic and fills it with new meaning. The water of the old covenant is transformed into the wine of the new. It is a picture of transformation, grace, and the surpassing glory of what Jesus brings. And also we see here the Mother Mary's role is one of faith and intercession. Though Jesus indicates that His full revealing, He still performs the miracle. Mary's trust, her quiet authority, and her instruction to the servants, do whatever He tells you, serves as timeless counsel for all who seek to follow Christ. Obedience opens the door to the miracles. The servants' obedience is crucial. They filled the pots without hesitation. They drew water and served it to the master of the feast without question or tasting. Their participation in the miracle is a reminder that God often works through willing hands and simple acts of obedience. And last, we see Jesus reveals His glory quietly. Unlike later miracles witnessed by crowd, this sign is almost private. Only Mary, mother of Jesus, the servants, and the disciples truly understand what happened. Yet, this quiet unveiling of divine power stirs faith. The disciples believed in Him, not merely because they saw a thick, but because they perceived His glory. The miracle at Cana is more than a story of divine provision. It is a declaration of who Jesus is. It is the first sign that the ordinary can be transformed by the presence of Christ. It shows us that Jesus is not only Lord over nature, but also the one who brings joy, redemption, and new beginnings. From empty jars to overflowing abundance, from quiet concern to revealed glory, from a simple wedding to the unveiling of the Messiah, the story at Cana invites us to trust, obey, and believe.